Hello, everybody. I'm so glad that you are all taking time out of your busy day to connect with us about the 9 Days for Life novena and that you are looking forward to praying with us for the protection of human life in January. And really, you have everything that you need to pray the novena and share it with others at 9daysforlife.com. They have resources in English and Spanish. You can sign up an email and by text or for text, and Anne will later on go into all of that with you. It's still very important to have a national novena where we are all coming together to pray for human life. Because obviously there is, power in numbers. Jesus says that wherever two are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them. So how especially meaningful is it when all of us together can pray across the country for the protection of human life? There is also still a lot of work to be done at the federal level that can still be done to advocate for human life. And there's also the need for us to be in solidarity with each other about what is happening in individual states. Ever since the Dobbs decision, we know that many states are reacting very differently with their policies around abortion and protection for women and children, or lack thereof. So hopefully we can all come together and pray for that during this novena. The reason we are still doing this in January, specifically around the time of the March for Life, and specifically the Roe versus Wade anniversary on January 22nd, is because January 22nd, in addition to being the Roe anniversary, is the National Day of Prayer for the legal protection of unborn children. And so we do want to commemorate that anniversary to honor the victims of Roe versus Wade that existed in our country since the 70s, this policy that allowed for the destruction of so many lives. We want to commemorate those victims of Roe and also take the opportunity to really acknowledge this National Day of Prayer for the legal protection of unborn children and use that opportunity to come together as a country to pray for human life. So I'm looking forward to doing that with all of you during the novena. And with that, I will give you over to Anne, who will give you some more information and details on how to access the novena and share it with your friends and loved ones.
Thanks, Kat. You can access the novena as well as all of the resources to help promote the novena in your parish, school, or ministry by visiting www.9daysforlife.com, and that will bring you to this page. So you can subscribe to receive the novena either by email or text message here. And if you click on this button here, you can subscribe through the same options in Spanish. So I'll show you what that looks like briefly. Going back to that same page, if you scroll down, you'll be able to see links for the novena, which will take you straight here to either an English Word document version or a printable daily handout version. So if you click this, you'll see that it's formatted nicely, and each day has its own page that can be printed off and distributed, or just for your own convenience in praying. And then if you click this button here that says En Español, that will take you to the Spanish files of the same novena. So again, going back to this page here, which you can get to by going to www.9daysforlife.com. Then if you click the resources button, that will take you over to this page here. And on this page, we have all of the different tools and materials that you need for promoting the novena and for distributing it. You can access the novena also through this first section here. So it takes you to the same page that I just showed you. If you click English or Spanish, you can also access the novena through the daily web pages here. Once you're on this page, if you scroll down and then click on day 1, day 2, day 3, etc., it'll take you to the daily content for each day of the novena. Now, if we go back to this resources page and continue on down the page, you'll see that we have a section for graphics. We have flyers here, which are available in full page versions. There are also 2 to a page in a couple different formats to make it more cost effective for you to print and reproduce. And then we have a second flyer, which has each of the prayer intentions for all of the 9 days all on one flyer here. We also have that available as a Word document if you click English and Spanish daily prayer intentions. Continuing on down the page, we have some sample bulletin and pulpit announcements, which you can either copy and paste directly from the webpage, or you can click the download button to access them here. And again, they're available in both English and Spanish. So this is something that you can use in your bulletin from the pulpit, but also perhaps if you have a newsletter that you send out by email or some other method. You could post this on social media. You can, feel free to use these however it's helpful for you to get the word out about the novena. We also have a press kit, and I'll go into that in a little bit more detail in a moment. And then finally, we have here our action guide for the anniversary of Roe v. Wade in January, which is also the day of prayer for the legal protection of unborn children. And we cover this in another webinar. You would click January Action Guide here, and that takes you directly to all the links for the action guide and the webinar recording. So going over to the image gallery, we have a couple different kinds of graphics here for you. We have the promotional graphics, which we have several, as you can see, several options. And you could use these on your website, in newsletters, again, if you do newsletters, on social media, and perhaps in your diocesan newspaper, but there are just some different options for you. And then we also have the daily intention graphics here for the same purposes. And you can download these by clicking the buttons here, view and download, and that will take you to this page. And then scrolling down to the intention graphics, that'll take you to a similar but different page. And the Spanish versions you can get to through this button here. And then continuing on down the page again, we also have the flyer that you saw from the previous page available here as PDF or PNG files. And these are just simple ways that you can spread the word. And then finally, we have these branding assets, and you can view and download a variety of different versions here. So we have the stacked color version, which looks like that. We have a different color version, which looks like that. We've got black and white, horizontal, vertical. So pretty much any format you could need. And then the press kit you can click on here. And it's a lot of the same resources, but compiled to one easy page that you could send to your Catholic diocesan newspaper, your bulletin editor, any other kind of Catholic media or communications that you want to make aware of 9 Days for Life. We'll have a media advisory provided closer to the launch of the novena, which will be linked here in English and Spanish. In the meantime, we do have those branding assets, which I just showed you. We have a press photo that can be used with accreditation here as indicated. We have the novena intentions. Again, those are available both as a flyer and as a Word document. And then this will take you back to the Leaders Resources page right here. So that's all we have to show you for 9 Days for Life. But again, if you want to dive into more detail of the other January resources that we have, I encourage you to check that out here in this More section.